Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In last week's video, you saw me start my patio project here. Natural stone, my first time laying it, and I didn't quite do what I wanted to do. The plan was very much to actually finish this patio area here, to get it completely done, continue these slabs over the edges there, and be prepped up so the second day, today, I'll be able to build the wall all the way around the outside. Like I said, there was a few mistakes along the way. Maybe not measuring things 100% right. Maybe leaving some mortar in the slabs, leaving some stain in. But those things aside, generally happy with the progress. But the pressure is definitely on today. No, I've definitely not learned from my experience of coming up with these weird challenges and then not having time to do them. Today is exactly the same. I want to put some slabs over this edge here, finish the patio off, get this wall done, and it's now about 9:30. The sun just poking through, but it's a very misty, moody day out here today. I'd like to say beautiful autumnal vibes, but you know, definitely chilly and definitely grey. But we'll see where the day takes us. So what's the first job? Measure up these slabs here, get another mix on the go. Let's get cracking. You might have noticed then that the slabs have a kind of rough diagonal pattern into them. I actually wanted them all the same way and I didn't realise it'd be different, but there's actually some where the striping goes from bottom left to top right and the others where it goes from bottom right to top left. So unfortunately I've had to juggle things up, but what I tried to do is create an almost intentional pattern, just alternate between the different styles, which means that for these little bits I need to make sure they're the same. So over here we've got another slab, this one, which I did a bit of a dummy test on. This one's going to go here. Something like that. But I'm going to chop it down a little bit, just so I don't have too much overhanging the edge, because then I won't be able to push past with a barrow, which will be less than optimal. So it's time to get those marked up, get a mix on the go, and then get some more slabs cut. You know those days when you put in the plan in the preparation and everything goes perfectly to plan? Today's not one of those days. And in fact, to be honest, it's one of those days where I've half considered just binning the video off or just basically curling up in a corner and crying away. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. Look down there, mushrooms. Mushrooms growing in the garden. Might just take my chances and try frying up one of them for my lunch and see how it goes. But now, in the scheme of things, this is just what happens. The barrow has broken. That has come completely off. An old barrow anyway, so not the end of the world. I've made the mix up a little bit stronger this time around because I definitely want, with these slabs being at the edge, I want a real firm adhesion to it. Definitely don't want them coming loose. I actually covered the primer over from yesterday, and to my surprise, it's still usable. So a quick bit of mixing that up, and I might actually try reusing it. I guess as a manufacturer, they don't recommend that, but it's what's happening. Sun has just got in behind a cloud, and my old friend, the cement mixer, has been making a right racket. The fan was whining, so I had to repair that. Little temporary repair, but it seems to be okay now. So that disaster averted. We've got to mix together. This barrow is in its definitely last few days of remaining useful life, but I've got another barrow, so not the end of the world there. I think really it's just going to be a case of getting on. It's now 10:30. Once again, factors outside my control, everything seems to have come against me. But do you know what? It's these challenges that really make a project, isn't it? So let's get stuck in, let's get those slabs cut, let's get ready to stick them down and continue with the mission. Just to change the subject though first, how good do these hylocelephiums or sedums look in the autumn light? Absolutely beautiful things, aren't they? Easiest plant to grow, and in fact I think today, days like today anyway, plants are my happy place, so let's just have a quick look at them. If we go to the back there, you can just see an arbutus compactor that's flowering away now, hopefully not long until the fruits. And at that end, let's see a plant in its true autumnal glory. Just look at these, Kniphofia ruperi, an absolutely stunning red hot poker, looking splendid there, completing its autumnal scene. Apple tree behind, grasses below, olive tree up there, basking in the October sun. What a beautiful day. Anyway, from this little glimpse of beauty, right back to the graft. This one I'm just going to mark up very roughly for now, because then the actual final cut to follow this curve, I'll do that afterwards when everything's in place to get a better sort of overall line. So this one I can just literally cut the corner off. Like that for now. mega rough. I just want to get a barrow past it basically, but I don't want to cut it too fine and just leave a tiny little edge because that's more likely to chip. So I do want a good sort of 4 inches, 100mm or so, just overhanging to get a nice even cut on it. So that one's ready to be cut, and I might just leave it there in situ. So that went to plan. What I've decided to do now though, a little change to the plan, is actually cut a slab for each side of the patio. So one for down there, right at the front, and then one for this side here. It just gives me a little bit more scope for how I actually curve the wall around. I think even if you just see a little glimpse of it, it'll just make it look more complete, rather than having to get a really tight curve and not see any of this mortar. So I think if I just cut one more section, just to drop off each side, the end result will be much better. These are things that you don't really plan for, but as you're doing it, you can sort of see a way that it needs to be done. You just got to do it, haven't you? The downside of doing that is I'm going to have a little section of quite wet mortar, so I have to be a little bit more careful when it actually comes to put my cobble wall around it and not hammer it down too hard. But you've got to do these things, haven't you? Shortcuts never pay off long term, do they? So you've got to get it done right. Obviously now I've said that, ignore any of the shortcuts you've seen in these videos. But, you know, let's go for it. Thinking about it a little bit more, what I've actually decided is I'm going to need to cut 2 full ones. As tempting as it is to use that wastage up, and it will be used somewhere, don't worry, I think I'm going to have to cut 2 full ones, otherwise the joints won't fall in the centre of the 3x2s, and I think that'll just look wrong. So although it means cutting 2 of the other slabs up, I got them for this reason. I made sure I got some extra, so you learn from that mistake. I think they just need to finish there. Even if you don't really fully see it in the finished result, it just needs to be right, doesn't it? Just a tiniest glimpse. If it doesn't fall right, the whole pattern goes off, doesn't it? So it needs to fall there. So yeah, let's just get on with it and cut up 2 full ones. Yeah, that's the barrow gonna get into it. This is what I'm working with. Just get a tradesman in, don't worry about all this, get someone in who knows what they're doing, pay them the money and get a patio. So much easier. It's now then about 12:30, just been inside for some quick lunch, a big cup of coffee and some headache tablets. One of those days. But as you can see, I didn't forget to actually spray the whole patio down with water and give it a bit of a brush to get the most of that mortar off. At the minute it looks a little bit, you know, random because I've got all the slabs hanging over the edge, but I obviously can't and don't want to chop off the sections that overhang until everything is set very firmly in place. All the mortar, the cement is dry and we're good to go. So I can't rush into that, although it is really getting at my perfectionism, seeing them just hanging over the edge. But I've now got a decision to make. I've got about 4 hours left. Is there enough time to start putting this wall round the back? I don't know what to say. It would be so easy to go inside now, put on TV and just watch something, chill out, like you probably are when you're watching this, because you've got common sense. But you know what? I don't know when my next day off work is going to be. And as we head into late October, November, like I mentioned in my last video, the chance of me having another dry day off may be a little slim. There's only really one answer, isn't there? I'm just going to have to get on with it. Now, I could start at the back, just build the wall around there, but I don't really want to get to a point where I get to one side, or even worse, both sides, and don't have the right size block to finish it off. So I'm going to have to start on one of the sides. So I'm going to have to be a little bit careful, mindful, not to hammer down too much to actually press on these end slabs, which are still setting in situ. It's going to be time to make some lime mortar, get some more cobbles. This is going to be hard work. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of my videos will say this is hard work and I have a lot of fun bashing things around this summer, moving blocks around and just generally playing. But today, this is going to be genuinely hard work. So, let's talk no more and get on with it. Right then, brought some sand up and a couple of bags of lime to get us going. Let's just have a minute. I mean, it truly is a beautiful day out here today. Sorry for you regulars that I haven't actually given a full sort of tour, if you like, of this area. But this year, everything's been growing really well. The palms looking beautiful. Pinus patula, Mexican weeping pine. Just such a stunning tree. This area here, well, this area is a complete and utter mess, but plenty of experiments in there, plenty of things which will and need to be moved, but that's for another day. Like I said, this vista, even with a few weeds, it looks beautiful. Olive tree, eucalyptus, yuccas, and on the subject of yuccas, just look at the size of that linearifolia there. Absolute monster now. Say 1200, 1500 mil across, something like that. A real beauty. This area will hopefully look something when it finally comes together. But today, it is basically my builder's yard. It's quite handy having an area where it doesn't matter what gets spilt onto the ground or, you know, chucked around the place. So, as we're now moving on to cobble walls, like this here, we've got a different kind of mortar. We're making lime mortar. The sharp sand, actually, this last bag, is a different colour, which hopefully won't change the results too much. It will have a slight effect, but you won't really notice, hopefully. And then we're mixing it, again, with lime. Exactly the same lime we used last time. This one, NHL 3.5, St. Astia. Came from Lincolnshire Lime, which are a really cool little place where you can just literally ring up, order stuff and collect it whenever you want. Very affordable prices too. And we've got a substitute barrow, care of my neighbour Paul, who's helped me out with so many things. He lent me this barrow a good while ago. So that one has been retired to looking after the canners, which have been dumped in it unceremoniously all summer. Yeah, it's definitely a theme through my projects, isn't there? But we're now on the go again. That one there is my main sand and material barrow. This one I used to get some of these cobbles into place. These cobbles which are now splashed with mortar, cement and everything else. But there's still some beauty in here. And one thing I haven't mentioned so far is that I do actually have a bonus objective. Part of this is to actually clear this area here for a new addition, but more on that very soon. It's time to get on with making some walls, and let me tell you, I am actually half looking forward to this as the headache tablets kick in, because putting these cobble walls together, there's a beautiful element of creativity, informality, and just going with the flow. There's definitely going to be no spirit levels in sight, and I think the walls are all the better for it. Anyway, enough talking, breath caught back again. It's time to get on with some cobble walling. Obviously you're not here, but if you were, you would hear this constant humming of the bees in the background. Such a beautiful, natural, relaxing sound to really get on with some work to. Absolutely beautiful. I know Ivy's got a bad reputation, but in the right place, and this possibly is the right place for it. What a magnet for bees, hoverflies, just life in general, really. And I absolutely love it here. Even if it is already making a mess of the patio before it's even finished. But anyway, enough distraction. Come on, George, let's get on. So, a bit of pointed up later then, and I'm pretty happy with that wall around it. In the past, when I've been discussing the ideas for this section, I have thought about building that wall up a little higher, but seeing it at just one course high, it just nicely ties in with the walls either side of it. So I think I'm going to leave it there, for now at least, but we'll see what the future holds. There's always another project around the corner. But now I've got a decision to make. I've got some mortar left over. I knew I would, in fairness. I'm going to use some of it for haunching up behind those cobbles to make them extra secure. But I'm now thinking, do I cut that front and then I've got the mortar to finish it off and I can finish the whole project today, bar a little fettling at the end? It's a little bit of a risk. I'm looking at it now. I don't know if I want to, but if I do it very carefully, the chance to finish the project, nearly anyway, in a weekend, to not have to clean everything else up again another weekend, to not be waiting for that crucial dry weekend during winter, to not have to be putting off my garden tidy up any longer than I have done already. Do you know what? Let's go for it. I've basically got a rough line, a gentle sort of flowing curve that I can roughly stick to with the circular saw, and then afterwards I can always tidy up a little bit with the angle grinder before roughing up a bit again with the hammer and chisel. Big risk. But he who dares wins most of the time. Let's get ready. That one might need re-sticking, but at least I can do it. Got everything I need. I'm just going to cut it and stick it back. We'll pretend that didn't happen. Well, a little bit more messing around later, and it's now late afternoon. The garden flooded with that glorious autumnal sunlight, which I keep banging on about. I mean, just look at this here. Some of the new plants I picked up from Linden, begonia grandis in the ground there, beautiful cobwebs there. The garden is just aglow. But is there a project to see at the end of it? Well, that is very much the question, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm looking forward to giving the garden a good tidy up this autumn. But autumn isn't about endings. It can also be about new projects, exciting things that really have their time to shine. Not just plants, but also hard landscaping. Because if we head out here into that golden autumn sunlight, look at this. Yes, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. There's a bit more fettling to do today. That edge there, that's going to annoy me forever because I should have started the whole thing a little bit further forwards. But lesson learned. Now, there's been times today when genuinely I nearly went inside and decided, right, that's it. Partly the reason why I kept going is because once I say I'm going to do something, I just have to do it. But the other reason is because of you, because of these videos. In the last one, I said I had 2 days to complete this, and I've gone and pulled it out of the bag. We'll pretend that certain accidents just didn't happen. But overall here, I am very happy. A little bit more tweaking. I've obviously got the jointing compound to go in, a little bit more brushing the mortar around the sides, but it looks like a complete project. It looks like it's been here a while. And that's really saying something. Obviously, this is the first patio I've ever done as the autumn leaves fall down around me. Well, that's a good thing, because it means it's going to be my worst. The next one will hopefully be a bit better. You learn from things, don't you? Maybe don't rush quite as much. But at the minute, life is what it is. You just have to do what you can in a day. And I'm very pleased I set out and achieved what I wanted to do. And let's just look at it from this angle. So you can see there, I really like those big slabs. I just like the sort of simplicity. Great big 3x2 slabs of natural stone, and then the cobbles around the sides. It really does create a real picture. And I'm also just genuinely happy with the grey as well. I think that was a really strong choice. One thing I'm going to have to be careful to do is get a buff jointed compound or whatever I put in. I might just point them at myself, but I think a jointed compound might push in a bit nicer. So definitely go buff so it matches in with that sand. There's one thing I did notice, that mortar, I know it'll dry a little bit lighter, but it's definitely influenced by the colour of the sand. It's a little bit redder. But, you know, there's probably me that will notice that, hopefully. But all in all, I am very happy. Yes, I could have paid someone to do this for me, and there's a lot to be said for that, really. I'm sure they would have done a fantastic job. Everything would have been 100% perfect. It would have been finished a lot quicker, and I wouldn't have had to lift a finger, get sweaty, get scratched, get beaten, blooded, bruised, stung, and all the rest of things that this weekend has actually caused me. But I've actually made something, and throughout all my videos, that's something which gives me the greatest pleasure. Earlier on in the day, I had a headache. I was a bit fed up. I was tired. I only had about 5.5 hours sleep last night. Definitely headachy, groggy, not the right mood to be tackling a new project in. But there's something about that sun. The sun's the first thing. Seeing the garden, having a full day out here, and its beautiful autumnal glory. Yes, it's a complete mess, but just seeing past that, thinking today I'm creating. And thirdly, getting to enjoy playing with these cobbles. Things like that, it really does make all of this worthwhile. It's definitely not about the end result. It's certainly about the journey. And I've had a lot of fun making this, when just 4 or 5 hours ago, I definitely wouldn't have thought I would. So there we go, on that bombshell. How can I end with this video with something profound? Do you know what? I won't. I am one of the least practically competent people you will meet. This kind of thing, I haven't done it before. I've learned things along the way, got on YouTube, found out what other people have done, and look, I've made this. I've made an actual thing. So definitely next time you're thinking about something in your garden or house and think, yeah, it's not dangerous. I might enjoy some elements of this. Treat yourself to some new tools and give it a go. As the gorgeous autumn light picks up those cobwebs there, it must be getting on for 5 o'clock now. I've got plenty of tidying up to do. There's a lot of that, but at least I'm not gonna have to do it again after another day's work, am I? I'm pretty much there. So thank you very much for watching. And there's also another big special thanks to my wife, Alice. Yesterday, the first video you saw in this little mini series, that was a day off work. But today has been a Saturday, which she's looked after Harriet, taking her on a shopping trip. So thank you. That really has made this possible. And on that note, I can hear the boys running out. Here we go. It's Max and Remy. Hello, boys. Good boys. Right. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. See you later. Do you want to have a little dance on it?
That's up and down. Down.